Welcome to Helping Hands. This is the program where we celebrate the wonderful work that people do across Australia to make the world a better place. Coming up today,
here's a fig right here. They go big, just like this one. It's soft and juicy and delicious.
we'll spend more time in the garden.
Regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep. I call it my foundation of wellness.
The panel share their experiences on overcoming adversity. And we invite you to connect at helpinghands.tv. The Thornlea Community Garden have grown many kinds of fruit and mostly vegetables, shared many cups of tea, and have spent hours building relationships that have literally grown over the years. But there's more to this garden than their green thumbs and friendships.
This is our Thornlea Community Garden. We've been running since June 2017, and over those years we've had some people here who've been coming the whole time, and there are some who have only been here for a few months. My idea from the beginning was to help each other and myself to learn how to live sustainably and use our own gardens too.
This is one of our wonderful worm farms. We have two here. They were both recycled at a council clean-up off the curbside. We've got a list of what the worms like and what they don't like. They like fruit scraps, peels, vegetable, coffee grounds, but they don't like citrus and onions, and they'll turn that into beautiful vermicast, which I'll show you, actually is a fabulous all-purpose fertiliser. So here are the worms. See, they're eating, having a great time eating this pumpkin. So this is everything that they've eaten in their mouths, and it's come out the other end as a usable fertiliser that we can use. When it rains, water will come down, and then we can use this wormweed, is what we call it, and we dilute it. It's a really good tonic for plants. So we use that quite often, which is great. And this is called vermicast. We would harvest this and then we can sprinkle it around garden pots, and I think this could be one of Sue's special ingredients in her special gardening potting mix.
Our actual tagline is growing food and friendships. So yeah, so we grow the seeds and we grow the plants, but we also grow the friendships.
My name's Michelle. I've been coming to this garden club for the last 5 months. I come with my son Lance. This is Lance. I think it's important for kids to learn where fruit and vegetables come from, and I've learnt a lot of things from interacting with other people who have the same interest in gardening that I do.
I've learnt how to catch white butterflies over the time, hunting them and trying to get them not noticing me.
So I think he's learnt a lot, and he enjoys coming here as well. He's met lots of wonderful people, and he's grown so many new things as well. Yeah, come and have a look at these ones.
When the season changes, doesn't mean we stop. We still have to make our soil. We still plant different fruit that's in season. We still have to keep the garden going. That's where the root is. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle it, and then pull it. Give it a shake so that all the soil stays in the garden. The most important thing is the soil. If you don't have a good, healthy soil with everything that it needs, worms, the dirt, the food, the compost, everything. If you don't have that, your vegetables aren't going to grow good. There you go. Good job. Straight away we can plant a seed or a seedling, and then we just, Sue likes to give it sea salt, top it up with sea salt, and then you'll have something growing there. Would you like to plant something in there? Elizabeth, can you find Lance some seeds so we can plant something in here? Sure. You can make a row here and a row there. He's going to put 2 seeds into the ground, and that's it. So Lance is planting some snow peas. So he's got to plant 2 together, and we always do 2 together just in case one dies and one survives. Yep. And they grow fast. Within a week, this is going to germinate and pop up. Well done.
We have many members here, and it is only a small community garden, but it would be great if other people could start their own community gardens.
Seb, I've got that seaweed solution.
Oh, thanks, Elizabeth.
There you
Oh, thank you
love
so
it.
much. Here we go.
Got it?
Yep. Here we go, Lance. It's time to water it.
And be able to reach out to the community and help other people learn about gardening and plants and sustainability and organic gardening and permaculture. And you don't have to be an expert. You'll probably get people along who are experts and who know a lot. So it's not daunting. You can start a community garden.
There's more to come after the break.
Sammy, the scarecrow. He's had a few different shirts. They do tend to fade. And he did have legs at one stage, but they sort of disintegrated. Very early on we had an open day and invited people from the community, and they made Sammy, the scarecrow. And he's had a few different shirts. They do tend to fade, and he's got a new hat on at the moment, well a second-hand new hat. And he did have legs at one stage, but they sort of disintegrated, so he's just a shirt and a head at the moment. I'm not sure that he does his job really well, because we have had sunflowers in here and they get eaten and knocked around by the cockatoos, so I'm not sure that the cockatoos are particularly afraid of Sammy. He's there and we enjoy him. We actually have a group that meets in the greenhouse every fortnight, and it's a group for dementia sufferers and their carers and other people in the community who are just isolated, and they meet here for coffee and a bit of an activity.
So it's this wonderful place where they can get fresh air and some exercise while looking at the garden. And we walk around and they touch the things, they pick some flowers, they dig in this bed which is sort of ours, and we look at the fruit, the vegetables, and for a lot of them it springs memories of things they might have grown when they were younger, of things their mother grew or cooked for them. So it's really has a great value. Sometimes we'll pick something, they all pick one thing, we'll take it inside and we'll use it to go around the group and talk about it and tell a little story that they'll remember, like the fig tree. Somebody had figs as a child, so they'll talk about that, how they climbed the fig tree. So the garden has a great relaxing, calming effect on people as well. It's invaluable for us.
If somebody wants to grow something, we'll say, okay, well, let's do it. If I see something where I buy the seedlings, if I see something totally different, I'll buy it and we'll check it out.
Sue wanted to buy a fig tree, and I said to her, don't buy a fig tree, I can get one from Mum. So Mum, we waited for the season to where we did some cuttings, and I brought it to the garden, and come along and I'll show you. So here's a fig right here. It's not ripe already yet, so they go big, just like this one, and then it gets nice and soft and juicy, and you open it up and look at all this yumminess, sweetness. Yeah, it's soft and juicy and delicious, and when you eat it, it's just so juicy, and there's crunchiness from the seeds. It's sweet like sugar, and it's just delicious.
It's learning with other people that is one of the big pluses of a community garden, and enjoying what we grow.
These are the figs from the fig tree.
Building each other up, and for people who are a little bit isolated, it's a place where they can come and just feel welcome. We're now having morning tea, one of the best part of the morning for some people. It's a time when we can just get to know each other better. So different people bring different things each time.
Here you go, extra cherry for you.
It is a time of community. This is, as I said, where we get to really know each other. Yeah, so it's relationships and just building up the friendships.
If you are a helping hand or would like to see a helping hand from your local community featured on this program, visit our website and be in touch. We'd love to hear about the people and organisations across Australia who are making the world a better place.
Could you or someone you know benefit from being part of a community gardening group? Why not consider starting one of your own in your own suburb? To find out more about the Thornlea Community Garden, visit the directory page on our website. Welcome back to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the people and organisations who make the world a better place. It's safe to say that we all have to deal with and overcome adversity at some point in our lives. For some of us, other people's problems can seem insurmountable, and for others, they can seem negligible. Our panel talk about overcoming adversity and share some of their own struggles in their lives.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. With me on the panel today, we've got Justine Whitchurch, sobriety writer and speaker. We've also got psychologist and teacher Colette Smart and the former CEO of Wesley Mission, Keith Garner. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Justine, we'll start with you. In your line of work, what are some of the challenges of life people are experiencing that you find they're needing to deal with?
Oh goodness, wide and varied, but I think there is a general theme of overwork, overload, overwhelm, and there are a lot of people that are taking on a physical and mental load that's just beyond their capacity to deal with. You know, getting stuck in trauma and toxic relationships and things like that. And then I guess with what I do, they're going that one step further and dealing or medicating that with substance like alcohol, which is just, you know, exacerbating the whole issue and condition in a much bigger way.
And when we look at where those different challenges may arise from, it can be mental, physical issues, whether it's something emotional, family challenges, whatever. Keith, when you look at those different things, those different elements, do you feel like they're exclusive from one another or are they all connected?
They can be connected, though it can be that a person has one specific issue that they're dealing with. I like that song, I get knocked down and then I get up again, only because I think that's what life's like. You have to do that sometimes. For me, faith's an important part of that. But for many people, it's all kinds of things that help them to do that, to get up after times of adversity in their lives. In fact, I would even say most of us have to face adversity of one kind or another in our lives.
And so many of the adversities that we experience, they're not of our making. It can just be that our circumstances find us in these positions. Is it possible to overcome them when they're not, you know, brought on by us?
Look, I have to say yes, because I'm a psychologist and that's what I do. And being a psychologist means I see that there is hope in the world. Yeah. There is hope for people who walk through my door or in schools that I work in. And so I really believe there is hope, even when there is adversity outside of ourselves.
And maybe coming from that attitude of hope, like that's going to make all the difference in how we deal with it. And there's so much we can't control. But Justine, what do you think we can control in terms of how we respond to and overcome adversity?
Well, we're always in control of our own actions and our own behaviours. But I think, look, for me, I think that a really good, strong sense of self-care always helps when you are in the midst of overcoming adversity or setting you up in case adversity comes at you, because as we've just spoken about, a lot of this is beyond our control. And for me, that's a really good routine of regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep. I call it my foundation of wellness. And I'll bang on about it forever, but I really believe that when you have those fundamentals in place, you are better equipped to handle anything that life throws at you.
What do you do when you may be drawn back in to some of the things that have caused you adversity. In your circumstance, you've talked about toxic relationships, alcohol addiction. When those things potentially draw someone back in, how do you overcome that?
Sometimes we have to go back in and get knocked down about 3 more times, or 12 times in my case, before you learn. I think every time that you go back into those situations, you possibly get a little bit more strength to get yourself back out. But once again, I'll go back to that foundation of wellness. When you have those other things and those really positive parts of your life, you'll be able to better distinguish what is good for you and what's not good for you. It might take you a little bit longer to actually move back over to the other side of the fence, but you can differentiate.
And the reality is, for a lot of people, whether it's addiction, whether it's other coping mechanisms we've found that could be unhealthy, sometimes what sparks them is the action of somebody else, and then we've just been affected by it. Where does forgiveness sit in this kind of conversation?
It fits a lot, but I think the realisation, we sometimes have heroes and people we look at and we say to ourselves, look at that. When I look back now, J.K. Rowling's a good example. Somebody's life was in a real mess. Jim Carrey with The Mask and all those early films. I never realised until when I read about him, this guy lived in the boot of a car. I mean, his life was a mess. Now, I find that helpful simply because we have heroes that we have, but very often many of those people have been through ways that are difficult. And I think the ways of hope and faith and purpose are very positive things. And if we can just find the thing that we latch onto and say, that's what I want my life to be, things can turn around and do turn around for many, many people. But often it's by attaching our thought to a person, to a situation, and to a hopeful situation.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that for me, definitely in overcoming my own struggles, and I see this with my clients, is they need to see an example of somebody that has actually got to the other side. So it's not so much an inspiration as it is hope that it is possible to move through these things and actually get to a point where you are in a much better, state of mind, and you're happy and you can feel joy again.
What I'm hearing here is that we don't do it alone. You can't heal alone. You can't. You need people that you feel like you can either lean on, or who might come alongside you and help you take the next steps, but they've got to be people you trust to walk some of those hard parts.
Which is where the forgiveness comes in, because in the end, finding somebody who can enable you to be forgiven and to forgive yourself. Yeah. I mean, that's, I'm not sure as a Christian minister, I told everybody you've got to forgive yourselves all the time, but you do. You have to put that into a perspective whereby there's an element in which you say, oh, well, I know I've done wrong, but I can get up.
One aspect of forgiveness is that we need to be so careful that we don't say to people, well, you need to forgive because that will make you feel better. That's not anybody else's place to say that. We do know that forgiveness does help us move towards healing, and the forgiveness is often for you because you heal more. But you can't tell someone when that point is. It has to come from that person and when you talk about it, it's got to be gentle and compassionate and kind, and it has to come in their timing.
And so if we're looking at an effective foundation for overcoming adversity, what would maybe be like 1 or 2 things you'd say, here's how you do that?
I think first steps is recognising that you need support, that you need help, that there's something that you've got to move forward with, and then actually getting those 1 or 2 people alongside you and giving them permission to let you know when you might be slipping or when things might not be going really well, and asking them, come with me to a counsellor or a life coach so that I can move to the next steps.
Yeah, don't do it alone, I think is a key theme here, guys. Thank you so much for your contributions today, and thank you everyone for joining us as well.
If there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed on Helping Hands, visit our website and be in touch. We love talking about the things that make the world a better place.
I'm grateful that our panel were prepared to share in a raw and real conversation today. Did anything that Colette, Keith or Justine say resonate with you? Head over to our website and click through to our social channels. Join the conversation via helpinghands.tv. We all face adversity at some point in our lives, and depending on the challenges before us, it's often a good idea to reach out to family, friends, and the people around us for a hand up, advice, and some direction for our next steps. There is always a way forward. There is always hope. And through our struggles, we can become better versions of ourselves and then help others around us.
Let us know about the Helping Hands in your local community at helpinghands.tv. Send a photo or a short video and tell us about your local heroes in 25 words or less.
Thanks to Colette, Keith and Justine for joining Laura in the studio today. Thanks also to Sue and the Thornley Community Garden, and thanks also to you for being part of the show and tuning in each week. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.